The first time I saw her, I honestly thought some cosmic prankster had thrown me into a romance novel written by a drunk blacksmith with anger issues. There she stood, 7 feet of sculpted red muscle, braided platinum hair, heavy enough to use as ship mooring rope, and eyes that glowed like she'd swallowed 2 moons out of boredom. And me, just a human in dented armor, trying not to look like I'd immediately fallen in love and peed my pants at the same time. Her name, at least as I later learned, was Varexakathier, half-warrior, fully prepared to kill me if I breathed wrong. She stared at me like she was evaluating whether I was prey, pest, or temporary entertainment. The irony was, I had no idea which answer would get me killed slower. When she stepped closer, the ground trembled. Not metaphorically, literally. I felt stones vibrate under my boots. My brain flashed, "This is fine," in a voice that was absolutely not fine. "You are the human envoy," she said, her tone flat, emotionless, like this was the 50th disappointment she had encountered today. "I mean, I'm human," I said. "Whether I'm an envoy is debatable. I was told there would be cookies. I don't see cookies." Her eyebrow twitched. Not a lot, maybe a millimeter, but it was enough to tell me I had just earned mild confusion instead of immediate decapitation. Progress. Behind me, my squad watched from a distance, silently rooting for me to be the first human in history to successfully talk to a cathedral. Most envoys fainted before the demonkin even said hello. Some fainted after. One fainted during a handshake and broke 3 ribs. But me, I had something they didn't. Crippling romantic impulsivity and a long history of disappointing women. A perfect combination. I expected someone. Varexa paused, scanning me from boots to forehead. Taller, that makes 2 of us. My genes gave up early. Another eyebrow twitch. At this rate, I'd unlock a whole expression by the end of the week. She turned, motioning for me to follow. I walked beside her, doing my best impression of a dignified envoy, and not a man internally screaming because holy cosmic. Hell, she smelled like smoke, and starfruit and danger, which immediately became my new favorite scent. As we entered her outpost made of blackstone, jagged architecture, and soldiers who looked like they consumed steel rods for breakfast, everyone looked at me like I was a stray puppy who had wandered into a battlefield. "Is it normal?" I whispered, "for everyone to stare like they're deciding which part of me will be eaten first?" "Yes," she replied. "Catharians find humans curious." Curious as in cute, or curious as in edible. Yes, her deadpan delivery was so perfect, I didn't know whether to laugh or check if she was sharpening a blade. We reached the war tent, a massive structure, stitched from dark fabric and reinforced with bone-like frames. She gestured for me to enter. I ducked inside, scanning the room. Maps, weapons, strange glowing crystals. A chair that looked like it was made entirely from something I really hoped wasn't a skull. She followed me in. The tent suddenly felt much smaller. "I have reviewed your mission," she said, crossing her arms. "You are here to negotiate a ceasefire, correct? Why send you?" she asked. "Why not someone qualified?" I blinked. I like your directness. Most people take at least 10 minutes before calling me unqualified. I did not call you unqualified. I asked why your leaders decided to send someone so soft. Soft, not handsome, not charming, not heroic, soft. "Wow," I muttered. My self-esteem just tripped and fell off a cliff. Her lips twitched again. Not quite a smile, but definitely a cousin of one. "You are emotional. Catharians do not trust emotion." "I get that," I replied. "You're more of a stab first talk later type, and humans are talk first critering type. Sometimes we cry after too," I added helpfully. That did it. A tiny, almost invisible curve ghosted onto her lips. A smirk. My heart performed a gymnastics routine. I immediately wanted to brag to someone. "Hey, I made a demon princess smile. And I'm still alive," but I kept it internal. I needed to stay professional, or at least fake it convincingly. She studied me silently for a moment. Her eyes glowed brighter, scanning me like I was a puzzle box she couldn't decide whether to solve or smash. "Tell me, human," she said softly, "are you afraid of me?" "Absolutely," I answered, in a sexy way. "I mean, wait, no, not what I meant." Her smirk widened by 0.5 millimeter. I was on a roll. "You are strange," she murmured. "You're stunning." I blurted. There was a pause, long enough to count the threads on the tent wall. "You speak boldly," she finally said. "Honestly, I speak accidentally." Another pause, longer, heavier. Something shifted in the atmosphere. Some invisible tension, neither of us acknowledged directly. "Why did you volunteer for this assignment?" she asked. "Because I'm tired of running away from everything," I said. "I wanted to do something important." Her eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "And you believe this is important?" "Yes," I said. "You're important." That stunned her. I saw it in the way she inhaled sharply, chest rising, eyes flickering in surprise. No one had probably said that to her without trembling. "Humans," she muttered, "always forming emotions where none are required. It's a talent, it's a weakness. It's both," I replied quietly. "Depends who you give it to." Her gaze locked with mine. For the first time, there was no danger in it, just quiet curiosity. "You are different," she said, and you're impossible not to stare at her. Rage shifted as she turned sharply away, not out of anger, but out of embarrassment. She hid it well, but I saw the slight flush beneath her scarlet skin. Focus, she said. We have negotiations to begin, right? Yes, negotiations. Totally what my brain is doing, negotiating. I tripped on absolutely nothing. She caught me by the arm, effortlessly stabilizing me. Her hand wrapped around my bicep, warm, strong, fingers firm. She held me for a moment longer than necessary. You are fragile, she whispered. You say that like it's a bad thing. She released me. Too quickly, we approached the negotiation table. Catherian war chiefs surrounded us, their armor hissing, their eyes sharp. I swallowed hard. One of them pointed at me with a massive claw. This human is small, compact, I corrected, fragile, lightweight, weak-looking, energetically efficient. Varexis stepped in front of me, her voice cold as star steel. He is under my protection. Silence engulfed the tent. Then one war chief glanced between us. Are you claiming him? I opened my mouth to say no, because that felt like the sane answer. Varexis said, yes. I choked on my own lungs. The war chiefs nodded, appearing satisfied. I, however, was dying internally. When they finally left, I turned to her, claiming. What does claiming mean in Catherian culture? She didn't answer immediately. Varexa, I repeated, voice cracking like a pubescent bard. She looked at me calmly. Too calmly it means, she said slowly, that no one else may harm you. Oh good, great, fantastic, love that. And it also means, she added, you now belong to me. My brain stopped. Just stopped, people. I squeaked, yes, as in, like a pet. She tilted her head. Do humans consider being protected by a powerful warrior the same as being a pet? No, I mean maybe. Depends on context. And callers, not important, okay? Moving on. You are speaking too fast, she said. I'm panicking too fast. I shot back. She took a step closer. I stepped back. She stepped closer again. I hit a table. There was nowhere else to go. She leaned down slightly, eyes glowing brighter, voice dropping lower. You asked earlier if you should be afraid. I nodded stiffly. You should not be, she said. You are mine. No harm will come to you. Her protective tone, it activated something I wasn't ready to unpack emotionally. But, I managed. I'm human. We're not built for demon warlord culture. She smirked again. Then you will adapt. I stared at her. She stared back, unwavering. What? I breathed. Are you going to do with me? Train you, she said. For diplomacy, for survival, and, she added, after a long pause, perhaps, companionship. I nearly fainted right then and there. She straightened, breaking the moment. We begin tomorrow. Rest now. You will need strength. For diplomacy, I tried. For keeping up, she replied, walking past me, her tail brushing my arm lightly as she exited the tent. I stood there alone, heart pounding, brain melting, soul reconsidering its life choices. And even though this was definitely the most terrifying situation I had ever been in, I couldn't stop smiling. Because when she had asked why I didn't walk away, well, the answer was already forming in my mind. Being near her felt like belonging. Asterisk by sunrise, I had already discovered 3 things. 1. Catherian beds are not beds. They are stone slabs disguised as torture devices. Catherian mornings start with war horns so loud they could scare the soul out of a skeleton. 3. Varexa does not knock. She walked into my tent like the concept of privacy was an optional premium feature humans invented for fun. I jolted awake so hard I slid halfway off the stone bed and hit the ground with a noise that sounded like a wounded goat. She looked down at me. Expression unreadable. Good. You are awake. I am horizontal. I corrected. Awake is a strong word. You must rise. Training begins now. I tried to stand, but my lower back staged a rebellion. Varexa, your bed is illegal. You should be arrested. That is not a bed, she said. It is a resting platform. Resting. On that, my spine is filing divorce papers. A faint twitch crossed her lips. I had started treating every twitch as a small personal victory. She tossed something at me. I caught it barely and looked down. It was armor. Dark, lightweight, human-sized, slightly terrifying. I forged this for you, she said. You forged armor. I blinked, like with fire and hammer and intense brooding. Yes, for me. Yes, Varexa, that is the most romantically violent thing anyone has ever done. It is not romantic, she said quickly. It is a little romantic. It is functional. It's extremely romantic. Her eyes narrowed in warning. Put it on. I swallowed, slipping into the armor. It fit perfectly, too perfectly, like she had taken my measurements in my sleep. I briefly wondered whether Catherians had laser scanning vision. She probably did. Those eyes looked like they could analyze molecular structure. When I finished, she stepped forward and adjusted the chest straps. Her fingers brushed my collarbone, just lightly but enough to send a shockwave of butterflies across multiple dimensions. I tried to act normal. I failed spectacularly. You are tense, she said. I'm alive. That's my default setting. She stepped back and circled around me, evaluating her creation with the precision of a sculptor examining newly carved marble. It will protect the vital areas, she murmured. That's very reassuring, I said. How many vital areas do humans have? According to you, you have many, she answered. More than That feels like an insult at our weak evolutionary design. It is, I sighed. I'm going to get bullied the entire time I'm here, aren't I? Yes, she said calmly. At least you're honest. Catherians do not lie. That's good, I said, because last night when you said I belonged to you, that was truth. No hesitation. Wow. Okay, great. My heart just did a weird little somersault. She turned, gesturing for me to follow. Come, training grounds. The training grounds turned out to be a massive arena surrounded by jagged black stone walls, with Catherian warriors sparring, leaping, throwing weapons, breathing fire, actual fire and smashing boulders with their elbows. I gulped. Varix, I think we have very different definitions of training. You must learn to survive here, she said. Your human softness will not protect you. I prefer the term cushioned durability. She ignored that. First, she said, combat assessment. Assessment meaning, she whistled sharply. A Catherian soldier twice my height stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. His muscles had muscles. His shadow had biceps. Nope, I said immediately. Absolutely not. I will be paced. You must face him, she said. Varexa, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'm extremely allergic to death. You will not die. He looks like his favorite hobby is crushing walnuts with his bare hands. He prefers crushing skulls. That does not make this better, but she stepped aside, leaving me alone in the dusty arena. The soldier approached. I turned back toward her. Varexa, please. I'm begging you. Call him off. I'm not ready. She crossed her arms. Then run. Run. Humans are small and fast. Use your size. I'm not that fast. Then die. I glared at her. Great pep talk. Very motivational. The soldier lunged. I screamed. Not a heroic scream. More like the scream of a man who had absolutely not read the fine print of his diplomatic mission. I dodged wildly, flailing like a frightened pigeon. The soldier swung again, missing me by inches. Varexa called out. Do not scream like prey. I am prey. No, you are claimed. How is that better? Another swing. I managed to avoid it. Barely. Probably because the soldier was laughing. Apparently, watching me avoid death through pure panic was entertaining. At some point, I tripped again and rolled across the ground. Dust flying everywhere. The warrior stopped, shaking his head. He lives by accident. The soldier said. Varexa stepped up. Enough. He has potential. I lay on the ground wheezing. Where? She knelt beside me. In your persistence, I was not persisting. I was dying creatively. She offered her hand. I took it, and she pulled me up effortlessly, as if I weighed nothing. Her grip was strong, warm, grounding. Again, she said. Varexa again. Oh gods. We train for hours, dodging, falling, rolling, screaming, trying not to die. Screaming again by midday. I had 3 new bruises to cracked ego fragments, 1 existential crisis, but she was relentless, and strangely gentle when I actually got hurt, lifting me by the waist, brushing dust off my shoulders, muttering something like fragile but adaptable. At one point, she corrected my stance by gripping my hips and shifting them. My soul left my body. Temporarily, by sunset, I was exhausted, beaten, filthy, and probably hallucinating. She walked me back to camp, silent at first. You did well, she finally said. I snorted. I did not die. That's not the same thing. For humans, that is success. I shot her a look. Do you enjoy bullying me? Yes. Wow. No hesitation again. You react strongly, she said. It is amusing. So I'm your emotional support human. Yes. There was something so sincere about her tone that I couldn't even be offended. We reached my tent, but she didn't walk away. She lingered at the entrance, staring at me, eyes glowing faintly in the twilight. You surprised me today, she said quietly. By not dying. Yes. Thanks. That means a lot. She stepped closer to Closen, stared at my face like she was memorizing something. Her voice dropped low. Tell me something, human, when you looked at me in the arena. Why did you smile? Oh, she noticed. I swallowed. Because you believed in me. She blinked slowly, and then something shifted so subtle. I almost missed it. A softening, a crack in the warrior facade. Humans, she whispered, always giving meaning where none exists. It existed, I said, at least for me. Her breath hitched it slightly. Do not look at me that way, like I am not a monster. You're not. Her jaw tightened. You do not know what I am. And you don't know what I see when I look at you. What do you see? She asked. I exhaled slowly. Someone worth staying for. Silence, the kind of silence that held its breath. Then, unbelievably, she stepped back. Not out of rejection, more like fear. Not of me, of herself. You should rest, she said, voice suddenly colder. Training continues tomorrow. Varexa rest. She turned sharply and left, her steps fast, controlled, almost fleeing. I watched her go, confusion twisting inside me. Something in her reaction hadn't been anger. It had been vulnerability, genuine, raw vulnerability. And for the first time since arriving at this outpost, I realized something dangerous. She wasn't just a warrior, she wasn't just a demon, she wasn't just someone who claimed me out of convenience. She was lonely. And she didn't know how to handle someone who looked at her like she was more than a weapon. I lay on the stone slab that pretended to be a bed and stared at the ceiling, replaying the entire day. Her training, her protectiveness, her touch on my armor, her panic when I spoke honestly. I knew something was changing between us. And I knew it scared her, but the truth was already rooted in my chest. Being near her still felt like belonging, even if she hadn't figured out yet that she wanted me there. Morning in the Catherian outpost began with two things: the scent of molten metal in the air, and the very specific fear that Verexa would appear behind me without warning. Both happened at the same time. I was halfway through, attempting to chew a Catherian breakfast rations that tasted like a brick seasoned with despair, when her voice rumbled behind me. "You are eating incorrectly." I choked instantly. She stepped forward, plucked the ration block out of my hands, snapped it in half like it was foam, and handed me a smaller, less lethal-looking portion. "Humans lack jaw strength," she said simply. "That's not jaw weakness," I argued. "That's self-preservation. All food strengthens warriors. That thing strengthens dental insurance claims." Another twitch of her lips. I was becoming a professional Varexa-smile-hunter. She watched me eat for a moment. Arms crossed, face unreadable, but eyes very much not neutral. They lingered a strangely long time, on me, on how I moved, on how I breathed. It didn't feel like warrior evaluation anymore. "You rested poorly," she said. "How did you?" Then I realized she probably heard my tossing and turning all night. The walls here were thin, and Catherians had hearing sharp enough to detect a guilty conscience. "Thinking," I said. "About what?" "You." She froze. Not visibly, not dramatically, but like a flame pausing mid-flicker. "That is inefficient," she finally said. "It was accidentally done." I shrugged. My brain betrayed me. "Tell it to stop. It doesn't listen. I've tried many times." She turned abruptly. "Training grounds. Now." "Ah, yes, avoidance." Her favorite hobby after intimidation and dramatic entrances. We walked through the camp. Soldiers stared again. I was used to it now. Some muttered things like, "The soft one walks again. He survived another day. His bones must be flexible." One even nodded respectfully, which was progress. I wasn't sure if it meant respect for me or extremely restrained pity. I'd take either. At the arena, Verexa introduced the next phase of torture training. "Today," she said, "we test your endurance." "You mean running?" "No, pain tolerance." "Oh good," I said. I was worried today might be easy. She gestured to a Catherian device that looked like a medieval chiropractor's worst nightmare. Spikes, ropes, suspended logs, and something that hissed ominously. "Verexa," I whispered, "please tell me that's not for me." "It is. I genuinely thought we were friends. We are training partners." "Those are not the same thing." "Begin," she said, gesturing to the torture playground with the enthusiasm of someone inviting me to a picnic. Catherian warriors formed a circle. I considered faking a heart attack. Unfortunately, Catherians could probably detect lies by heartbeat patterns. The first obstacle was a rotating beam I had to jump over. I attempted it, gracefully. No, successfully. Also no. I made it half a jump before the beam smacked me and sent me rolling across the ground like an abused potato. Warriors snorted. Some laughed outright. Verexa didn't laugh, but her jaw did tighten. "Again," she said. I limped to the start, attempted again, got hit again. The third time, I managed to duck but fell face first into dust. "Better," she said. "That was better." "Yes, I worry about your grading scale." She pulled me up by the back of my armor, lifted me like a bag of flour, and set me upright. Her hands lingered a moment. Too long, strangely long. Her fingers brushed my shoulder and she quickly withdrew them, pretending nothing happened. I didn't comment, mostly because my brain had melted into admiration-flavored jelly. Obstacle by obstacle, I suffered creatively. Warriors watched, amused. But something strange happened over time. Their laughter shifted from mocking to supportive. Catherians respected endurance more than success. They valued getting up more than winning. And I, stubborn human idiot that I was, refused to quit. Even while I resembled a barely functioning loaf of bread. Near midday, Verexa called a break. She tossed me a flask. "Drink ice. This smells like liquid regret. It is energizing. It's smoking. Drink." I took a sip. It tasted like fire, anger, and fruit. My entire body vibrated. My vision sharpened. My heartbeat became a drum solo. What was that? "Catherian stimulant. I have ascended." "You will crash in 1 hour," she said calmly. "I have no chen fear. Sit before you fall." "I will not sit." I immediately sat, hard. She knelt beside me, close, too close. I felt her breath against my cheek. "You did well today," she murmured. "You always say that after I almost die. That is when you improve the most." "You're trying to kill me." No, she said softly. If I wanted to kill you, you would have died the first day. That's comforting in a horrifying way. She hesitated. Her hand lifted. For a moment, it hovered near my chest, like she wanted to check for injury, but she pulled back at the last second. Why do you hesitate? I asked. Before thinking, her eyes snapped to mine. Sharp, wide, vulnerable. I do not hesitate. You do. She stood abruptly. Enough rest. Follow me. The shift was defensive. I recognized it now. The woman was terrified. Of her own softness, she led me toward the edge of the outpost, where the cliffs overlooked black mountains and molten rivers that glowed like veins of lava. Beautiful. Dangerous. Like her. This is the shattered expanse, she said. My home. It's breathtaking, I whispered. She didn't look at the view. She looked at me. Humans fear this place. I'm human, I said, and I'm not afraid. You should be. But I'm here with you. Something flickered in her sadness, something deeper. You should fear me, she muttered. I don't. You are a fool. Then, maybe, I said, but I'm your fool. Her eyes widened, not with anger, with panic. She turned away quickly, gripping the cliff edge. Her shoulders heaved like she was holding in a storm. Verixa, I said gently. What's wrong? Do not speak, she snapped, but her voice quivered. I stepped closer. You don't have to hide whatever this is. You do not understand, she growled, trembling. Catharians do not attach. Then don't attach, I said softly. Just stand next to me. She exhaled shakily. You make it sound simple. Everything is simple when you stop running. I am not running. You walked away this morning when I said I thought about you. She stiffened. And you walked away last night when I told you you're worth staying for. She flinched. I stepped beside her, close enough that our arms almost touched. But you never really leave, I whispered. You always come back. She turned slightly, eyes blazing not with rage, but with emotional overload she couldn't name. You are confusing, she said. You're beautiful. You are fragile. You're gentle. I am not gentle. You are with me. Her breath caught hard. She stepped back as if burned. Enough, enough. You twist words. I speak honestly, then stop. No. Her chest rose and fell, breath ragged. Why? Why do you not walk away from me? The question punched through the air like a comet. This was the moment the title of our story had been born. This was where everything shifted, and she didn't even realize. She had asked the one question she feared the most. I walked toward her slowly. Because being with you, I said, voice low, feels like belonging. She stared at me, eyes glowing, breathing uneven, heart pounding hard enough I could hear it. She looked undone. Then the sound echoed from the mountains, a distant roar. She snapped into warrior mode instantly, stance shifting, eyes scanning. Get behind me. I obeyed, not because I was scared, though I was definitely scared, but because she said it like a command from the universe. A massive creature emerged from the horizon, wings beating, flame dripping from its jaws. A pyre draken. She tightened her grip on her obsidian blade. It hunts. It has smelled human. Oh good, I whispered. I'm a snack. You're under my claim, she growled. It will not touch you. She stepped forward, and I saw it. Fear. Real fear. Not of the creature, of her losing control, of me seeing something soft inside her, of the fact she cared enough to fear anything involving me. The Dracon descended. She raised her blade. I braced behind her, and the moment froze. Dangerfur, like Luval tangled together. I didn't know how the fight would go, but I knew this. We were no longer just warrior and envoy. Something bigger was happening. Something she didn't want, something she feared. Something she couldn't stop. Something neither of us could walk away from now. And somewhere deep inside the panic, I realized I didn't want to, because with her, even in danger, even in chaos, I belonged. The first thing Lixara did when she woke up was threaten to murder me. Technically, it wasn't a real threat, more like the romantic half asleep. I could rip your heart out but I one single quotes T one single quotes T because I you kind of sound she always made when she'd been comfortable for too long. Her voice was muffled into my chest as she grumbled. Human, why are you breathing on me? Because oxygen keeps me alive. I offered helpfully. Stop it, she hissed, snuggling closer in complete contradiction to her tone. Her skin was warm, very warm, the kind of warm that made you wonder if someone replaced their bloodstream with lava. I liked it. I also suspected my human body would eventually combust if I stayed pressed against her too long. But, at least I'd die happy. The barracks outside our tiny shared sleeping alcove echoed with the sounds of morning drills, clanking metal, shouts, someone cursing because they probably dropped a sword on their foot again. Lix, I whispered, brushing a hand over her braid. We should get up. The council wants us. The council wants everyone, she muttered. The council can wait. It's about the peace treaty. Her eyes snapped open, glowing faintly like white-hot coals. Fine, she grumbled, but when this is over, you owe me breakfast. Deal. Not edible breakfast, she added with a low purr. The other kind, I choked. Which other kind? She smirked. Human, don't play innocent. You weren't that innocent last night. I wasn't, I protested, then paused. Wait, what exactly did I do last night? Her smirk widened, dangerously wicked. You tried to impress me. You succeeded, but your hips nearly failed you. I buried my face in my hands. God help me. No, God's here, Lixera said proudly. Only me, and apparently my very exhausted human. Great, I sighed. A girlfriend who gloats. Not girlfriend, she corrected, stretching like a predatory cat. More like future mate who may or may not claim you by force if the council annoys me today. I swallowed hard. She loved doing that, dropping something wildly suggestive and terrifying and flattering all at once, just to watch me malfunction. And I did. Every time. We dressed. Hers, leather straps, armored plates, intimidating dark metal accents, red skin glowing against every piece, like she stepped out of some interstellar dominatrix catalog. Mine, standard human soldier gear, dented from too many battles and too little funding. Together, we looked like two characters who belonged in different genres entirely. Yet somehow it worked. We walked toward the grand hall, where the treaty discussion was supposed to happen, and halfway there, she intertwined her fingers with mine. She did it casually, as if she didn't realize it was the kind of thing that would knock a human man flat emotionally. How's your shoulder? I asked. Still attached, she replied, though I might need you to kiss it later. Yes, absolutely, I can do that. She arched a brow. You fold easily. I'm human. We have weaknesses. You also have endurance, she murmured quietly enough that only I heard, which I discovered personally. I stumbled on air. She cackled. Then the grand hall doors opened. 200 alien warchiefs stared at us. Silence, then murmurs. One gruff voice from the back muttered, "The red demon brings her." Pet Lixora's grip on my hand tightened, and instantly I sensed her power shift danger. Rage. That crackling energy she only unleashed when someone insulted something she cared about. "We are leaving," she snarled, loud enough for the entire hall to hear. "Lix, wait," I whispered. "No," she snapped. "They insult you. They insult me. They insult us. That treaty will stain itself in blood if they speak again." Several warchiefs flinched. I stepped forward before she could escalate, raising both hands. Hey, as the human ambassador/lover/ and expectant emotional support creature can I say something? The warchiefs stared. Lixara blinked at me. Emotional support? What? Hush, you love it, I whispered to her before turning back to the crowd. You want peace, I told the alien council. But you act like you'd rather stab someone than shake their hand. If you want humanity to trust you, if you want us to believe we can build something together, you have to stop treating us like we're fragile meat insects. From the crowd, but you are fragile meat insects. Well, I'm trying not to think about that, I snapped back. Several aliens nodded sympathetically as if this was very reasonable. Lixara squeezed my hand again. I squeezed back. Look, I continued, I didn't walk away from her when I had the chance. I didn't run, because being with her felt like belonging. Lixora turned her head toward me, eyes softening, just a fraction. And if a demon warrior princess with anger issues and a talent for dismembering can fall for a dumb human with average biceps, I said, then maybe, just maybe, peace isn't impossible. One of the smaller aliens raised a tentacle. So, you too, mate, I blushed. Lixora didn't. Yes, she said proudly, he is mine. Lix. What? She shrugged. You are. Several warchiefs whispered excitedly. That explains the glow. Humans glow. No, she glows. Look at her. I thought that was anger. Sometimes it is. Fascinating. A tall elder warlord stepped forward. If the demon-blooded warrior chooses a human as her equal, then perhaps our clans can choose humanity as our equal. Lixera whispered near my ear. See, my taste benefits your people. I whispered back. Your taste is going to give me a heart attack. Good. Then you stay in bed longer. Not how that works. But the council members were nodding, murmuring approval. Some looked entirely too curious about human-alien relationships, and I suspected in a week there'd be maybe seminars. Gods help us. If someone started a fan club, then the elder warlord raised his staff. The hall fell silent. In honor of this union, he announced, we support the treaty. The war ends today. Cheers, erupted. Lixara pulled me close, eyes locked on mine, expression unreadable. You should kiss me, she said here. In front of everyone, she insisted. And I did. It felt like kissing a furnace. A dangerous, overwhelming, perfect furnace that might eat me alive if I wasn't careful. The hall roared in approval, chanting something in a language I didn't understand but assumed meant something like finally. She found someone who can handle her. She cupped my cheek. See? I told you. We could win this. You also said you might kill someone if they annoyed you. Both can be true. We walked out together, hand in hand, and outside the hall, she stopped me. You meant what you said, she asked quietly. About belonging. Every word, I said. She stared at me with that fierce softness she rarely showed. Good, because I'm keeping you. You say that like you're announcing you bought a new weapon. I did, she smirked. You I'm not licks. I'm literally not a weapon. She slid a hand down my chest, slowly, very slowly. You could be, she whispered, with the right encouragement. I turned bright red, which she found hilarious. We walked back to our quarters, victory echoing across the entire fortress. War was over. Peace had begun. Treaties signed. Alliances forged. But none of that felt half as important as the way she kept brushing her thumb over the back of my hand, like she couldn't believe I was real. As we entered our room, she pulled me against her. You stayed, she said softly. You didn't walk away. I told you why, I whispered. Being with you feels like belonging. Her forehead rested against mine. And you, she murmured, feel like home. Then she pushed me onto the bed with a wicked grin. Oh boy, I muttered. Don't worry, she said, climbing over me. You're safe. Safe, really? No, she laughed darkly. Not at all. Hours later, possibly an eternity, we lay tangled up in the sheets, both exhausted, both alive, both stupidly happy. Human, she whispered sleepily. Yeah, if you ever walk away. Her grip tightened faintly. I will hunt you down. I smiled. Romantic, very distant trumpets sounded celebrations beginning. She rested her head on my chest. Belonging, she whispered. Yes, I think that is what this feels like. And for once, I didn't try to joke it away, didn't hide behind humor or fear. I'm not going anywhere. Licks. Good, she said. Because you are mine. Yours, I echoed softly. Always. Outside, fireworks cracked across the night sky. Inside. She kissed me again, and for the first time since the universe tried to tear itself apart, everything felt right. Everything felt like home. Everything felt like us.